The collected teachings of Luang Por Chia from the February 11, 2001 talk, Six Kinds of Temperament. Today we'll talk about Karita. Karita means temperament. There are 6 kinds of temperaments. Temperament signifies the intrinsic nature of a person. In Pali, these are the 6 temperaments: 1. Raga Karita, 2. Dosa Karita, 3. Moha Karita, 4. Sada Karita, 5. Buddhi Karita, and 6. Vitaka Karita. Raga Karita means a lustful temperament, whoever has a lot of greed. Dosa Karita means a hateful temperament, whoever has a lot of anger. Moha Karita means an ignorant temperament. Sada Karita means a devout or faithful temperament. Buddhi Karita means an intellectual temperament, whoever has good wisdom. And Vitaka Karita means a speculative temperament, whoever thinks a lot. So, altogether, there are these 6 temperaments. Why do we need to study these? We have 40 subjects of meditation, kamana. We should know what kind of temperament is suited to a particular meditation subject. So, firstly, we have to know what temperament means. We study their nature. We can recognize temperaments by a person's posture, their actions, the way they eat, the way they see things, and by their other varying ways of being. Let's say someone used to be a soldier for 20 or more years in a previous life. When they die, and if they happen to be reborn as a human being, they will show signs of that previous existence in the way they react to patriotic matters. Ever since they were a child, for instance, they'll show signs of that previous life. We can see it in their actions and in their mental behavior. They will show where they came from. As another example, someone who was a famous singer in a previous life may be reborn as someone who can easily memorize songs and love to sing ever since they were very young. This is because of their previous life experience. Or maybe someone else was a famous dancer. After they died and were born as a human being again, ever since they were 1 or 2 years old they watched TV and saw someone dancing and somehow knew how to dance, even without training. This is because of their previous life experience. Or perhaps someone was a Buddhist monk in a previous life. After dying and being reborn as a human being, ever since they were a year or 2 old, whenever they saw a cloth or a blanket they'd wear it around 76, just practice them like a monk. They might like to sit like a monk or talk or act like a monk. Karita is related to our previous life habits. We'll talk about raga, lustful temperament, first. Some people had desirable jobs, maybe architecture or art or a designer. They had gratifying work to do in a previous life. When they become a human being again, most of them have a lustful temperament. And also, those who were an angel in heaven in a previous life were accustomed to being in a very beautiful place with beautiful objects. After they die from heaven and then reappear in this human world, these people generally have raga karita, a lustful temperament. This is because of their previous life. We can also know what kind of temperament a person has by their posture. You can guess it. When a person of lustful temperament walks, they are very careful. When they put their foot down, they do it slowly. They lift their feet up evenly too, but their steps are springy, they don't touch in the middle. If they wear shoes or sandals, you can look at the middle of their step and nothing touches. This is because of their lustful temperament. They walk slowly, and they lift and put their feet down slowly, evenly. When they sit, they are confident and graceful. When they prepare to go to sleep at night, they do so in an unhurried way. And then they will lie down for sleep slowly. This is the way they act. When they sleep, their limbs are composed, they sleep in a confident manner. And when getting up in the morning, they do so slowly. If someone asks them a question, they answer slowly. We can also know their temperament by their actions. They like to keep things clean. Maybe they'll grab a broom to sweep, doing so cleanly and evenly, without hurry. You can hear the noise of the sweeping. It's not much noise, just a slow sweeping. And when they cook in the kitchen, suppose they're chopping up meat or fruit, they do it slowly and evenly, gently. This is their temperament. If they do something, they act skillfully, gently, evenly, and carefully. You can look at their bedroom too, very clean. They like to be clean. When they wear their clothes, they wear them neither too tight nor too loose. If we visit their house and see their decorations, the house might look like a model home or a museum. Every decoration and all the pictures are perfect. Not one thing is out of place, it's all very beautiful. This person is of lustful temperament. How about your house? Luangpur laughs. 77 The collected teachings of Luangpur Chia. What about their eating? They like to eat rich, sweet foods, maybe chocolate. When they eat just the right amount. When they chew, it's unhurried. They savor the various tastes. And they enjoy getting something good. They like to eat good food, not junk food. As for their way of seeing, if they go see a movie or to a show or go shopping, they will look at even a slightly pleasing object for a long time. Not just a quick look, they'll take 1 or 2 hours. This is their nature. Among those of lustful temperament, there's frequent occurrence of such states as deceit. They like to cheat people. They are proud, they like someone to please them. Oh, you're very wonderful. They like to hear that. Their wishes go very high too, even if they have only $1, they may expect or imagine they will be a millionaire. And their discontent, even if they get everything, it's not enough for them, no contentment. And they have personal vanity. I have a beautiful body and beautiful eyes, or something like that. This is the nature of someone with a lustful temperament. The teacher should know these things. After we know the meditator's temperament, we can better give them a suitable meditation object. So this is the Raga Karita. Now we go to Dosa Karita, the hateful temperament. This temperament is also connected to previous lives. Maybe someone experienced a lot of stabbing and torturing. Maybe they stabbed or tortured someone, or maybe someone stabbed or tortured them. Or maybe they had brutal work to do in a previous life, killing animals to sell, or maybe they fought a long time in an army. When they die and are reborn as a human being, this type of person becomes dosa karita, of hateful temperament. This is because of their previous lives. Animals can be reborn as humans too. And a human can become an animal. So maybe a person was a hairy being in a previous life, a being that was tortured by someone, a being who was angry, afraid, or scared all their life. Or maybe in a previous life they were a serpent, a poisonous snake. When this type of person walks, they will dig in with the toes of their feet because they want to reach their destination quickly. We can look at their shoes or sandals and see the marked up point of their shoe from this way of walking. When they put their foot down or lift it up, they do so quickly. 78 Just practice. When they go to sleep, they will do it quickly, hastily. They will lie down right away, unlike the lustful temperament which lies down slowly, they will lie down right away. And after sleeping, they get up quickly. When asked a question, they answer like it's something that annoys them. Even when answering a telephone, they don't say, "Hello, may I help you?" They say only, "Hello," or "Hi." It's their nature. It's like we disturb them. The manner of their sitting is rigid, so tense and stiff, too, and when they have to do something, for example, clean the kitchen or the house, they grab the broom tightly. When they sweep uncleanly. After they clean, you can see it's still unclean. And they do it with a lot of noise. If they have to do something in the kitchen, this type of person chops or cuts something too fast because their mind is so fast, they want to finish quickly. You can hear the noise, the speed. This is those of hateful temperament. And when they act tensely, stiffly, and unevenly. When they wear their clothes, they're too tight. Someone like this might wear their pants or shirt so tight, it's their nature. How about you? Luangpur laughs. You wear it normal. For their eating, they like to eat rough foods, sour foods, spicy foods, and junk food. When they eat a hamburger, they want to finish quickly. They eat hurriedly, not slowly. And they eat without savoring the taste, they don't care. They just want to finish quickly. And when they have to eat something that's not good, they become angry. Who cooked this? Regarding seeing, when they see even a slightly displeasing object, they avoid looking. I don't want to see that. This is according to their nature. They pick up trivial faults, even small things, and they will complain. They will discount someone's virtue. They don't want to hear that. This is their nature. And as for other states of occurrence, there's a frequent occurrence of anger. They get angry a lot, have enmity, and are disparaging. They look down on others with contempt. They like to boss people around, do this, don't do that. They are domineering and jealous. This is their nature. Now we'll talk about Moha Karita, the ignorance temperament. 79 The collected teachings of Luangpur Chia in a previous life. This type of person may have been a drunk, used intoxicants, or had negligent learning. They didn't learn or question things. If in a previous life we have learned, questioned, and we understood, this will carry into the next life and we will be an intellectual person. But this type of Moha Karita person neglected learning, or maybe this person came from an animal existence. An animal has no learning and asks no questions in their life. According to some of their good karma, maybe they were later reborn a human being, but one of ignorant temperament, because they didn't know anything in their previous animal existence. This ignorant temperament person walks with a perplexed step. It's not slow, or even. When they put their foot down or lift it up, they do so hesitantly. If you see their shoe or sandal, the sole is not even because of the perplexed way they walk. When they step, they press down suddenly. And the manner of their sitting is muddled. If they press clothes or bed sheets, they will do so unevenly. When they sleep, they are mostly face down, with the body sprawling. When they wake up, they get up slowly and make lazy sounds. As for their actions, if they sweep or clean something, it's neither clean nor even. They just do it to finish it, they don't care. If you go and see their bedroom, there's so much stuff that is not clean. They like to live like this. In their car, there's a lot of stuff on the seats. This is the ignorance temperament. When they act, it's unskillful, uneven, and indecisive. When they wear clothes, they wear them loosely and in a sloppy way. They like to wear pants too big for their body size. This is Moha Karita. When this type of person eats, there are no subtle choices. They don't say, I like this. I don't like that. And they make very small, round lumps, using a small spoon, and they drop big pieces onto their dish. It doesn't get into the mouth. Even with just a small spoonful, they still drop food on their dish. This is their nature. And they eat with their mind astray, thinking of this and that. You can look at their face and see they're thinking about something. They don't pay attention while eating. When they see something or hear something, they follow someone else's way, they copy what others do. If someone says, oh, this is very good, they will praise it the same way. They just follow others, it's not their own decision. 80 Just practice. So now we've talked about just 3 of the temperaments. What about the others? Sada Karita, or faithful temperament, is by posture, by action, by eating, and by seeing, similar to lustful temperament. Buddhi Karita, the intellectual temperament, is by posture, by action, by eating, and by seeing, similar to hateful temperament. And Vitaka Karita, or speculative temperament, is by posture, by action, by eating, and by seeing, similar to ignorance temperament. But now, the various kinds of states occurring are different. Whoever has a faithful or devout temperament has a frequent occurrence of such states as free generosity, they like to perform generosity, a desire to see noble ones, and they like to hear good direction, good thought, and good Dhamma. So even though their posture, actions, eating, and seeing are similar to a person of lustful temperament, these kinds of states are different. They also have great gladness, honesty, and trust. They see something or someone, and they trust easily. This is those of devout temperament. For Buddhi Karita, the intellectual temperament, the frequently occurring states include readiness to be spoken to, because they have a lot of knowledge, possession of good friends, knowledge of the right amount of eating, and they know what kind of food they should or should not have. These people don't eat until full. This means they have knowledge of the right amount of eating. They have moderation in eating. And these people also tend to have mindfulness and full awareness. You see the way they walk, the way they sit, the way they lie down, and the way they talk, they're mindful all the time. This is buddhi karita, those who have wisdom, or the intellectual temperament. And as for the speculative temperament, the frequently occurring states include talkativeness, and others. They like to talk and talk and talk. Their talking is discursive, it's not about generosity or morality or wisdom, it's just talking, talkativeness, sociability. They also tend to be bored with devotion or with things that are profitable. They don't want to do even profitable things. They find it boring. And they tend to fail to finish undertakings. They typically don't finish projects, but then they start another project. And they are prone to smoking by night, and flaming by day. This means mentally running hither and thither, their mind wandering most of the time. 81 The collected teachings of Luang Por Chia. This is the sixth temperament. So after we know the 6 kinds of temperament, we need to know what kind of temperament is suited to what subject of meditation. We'll look at that now and review the 40 subjects of meditation. What are they? There are 10 Kesha: earth, water, fire, air, blue, yellow, red, white, space, and light. 10 Asubha, or impurities: a bloated corpse, a discolored corpse, a festering corpse, a dissected corpse, an eaten corpse, a scattered in pieces corpse, a hacked and scattered in pieces corpse, a bloody corpse, a worm-infested corpse, and a skeleton. So we have 10 kinds of impurities, and these are objects of meditation. Next, 10 reflections or recollections: reflection on the Buddha, reflection on the doctrine, reflection on the monastic order, reflection on morality, reflection on generosity, reflection on the virtues of deities, contemplation of peace, contemplation of death, mindfulness regarding the body or contemplation on the 32 impure parts of the body, and mindfulness of breathing or anapanasati. For sublime states, metta or loving kindness, karuna or compassion, mudita or sympathetic joy, and upekkha or equanimity, perception, sana, of the loathsomeness of food, analysis of the 4 elements with regard to their characteristics, and the last 4 are arupa, infinity of space, infinity of first consciousness, nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. So altogether we have these 40 subjects of meditation. Now, we should know the suitability of the meditation subjects for the different temperaments, the 10 impurities and mindfulness regarding the body. These 11 subjects of meditation are suitable for those of lustful temperament. A person of this temperament has lots of craving arising, so it is suitable for them to counter that by contemplating these 10 impurities and mindfulness of the body, the 32 impure parts of the body, the 4 sublime states and the 4 color Kesha: blue, yellow, red, and white. These 8 subjects of meditation are suitable for those of hateful temperament. Whoever has a lot of anger should practice loving kindness and so on, and contemplate the color Keshas. Their anger will come down. The reflection on breathing, or anapanasati, is suitable for those of ignorant temperament and speculative temperament. 6 of the reflections: reflection on the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, reflection on morality, reflection on generosity, and reflection on the virtues of deities, are suitable for those of devout temperament. 82 Just practice reflection on death, reflection on peace, perception of the loathsomeness of food, and analysis of the 4 elements are suitable for those of intellectual temperament. The 10 remaining subjects of mental culture: earth Kesha, water Kesha, fire Kesha, air Kesha, space Kesha, light Kesha, and the 4 arupajhana, are suitable for all temperaments. For anyone practicing samatha, or tranquility, meditation, it's necessary to understand what we've been talking about here. But for those who practice vipassana meditation, our objects of meditation are the 4 foundations of mindfulness: contemplation of the body, contemplation of feelings and sensations, contemplation of mind, and contemplation of mental objects, such as the 5 mental hindrances, the 5 aggregates of clinging, the 6 internal and 6 external bases, the 7 factors of enlightenment, and the 4 noble truths. So let's talk a bit about contemplation of dukkha, or suffering, and the arising and disappearing of suffering. We should know this. What kind of satipana, or what kind of object, should someone of lustful or devout temperament contemplate? They should contemplate Vedana, or feelings and sensations. When you contemplate feelings and sensations in light of the law of dependent origination, you see that when there is the cessation of feeling or sensation, craving ceases. So to kill craving we should contemplate feelings and sensations. What kind of satipana should someone who has dosa, a hateful temperament, so much anger, contemplate? They should contemplate mental objects. Because their nature is similar to those of intellectual temperament, they should contemplate dukkha. Whatever is oppressed by arising and disappearing, we call dukkha. So just see it, you don't see your body, or your feelings, or your mind, you just see arising and disappearing. This means you just see dukkha. So whoever has a hateful temperament or an intellectual temperament should contemplate mental objects. Whoever has an ignorant temperament and weak insight should contemplate the body. When the body arises and disappears, it takes time, 17 thought moments. The body arises very slowly and then disappears very slowly. So these people should contemplate the body, and then they will see its nature. Normally, when phenomena arise it's so fast that you can't follow it. But now, you follow matter, you follow the body, because it arises slowly. Those of speculative temperament, because their minds wander and are distracted, have to contemplate the body too, breathing in and 83 the collected teachings of Luang Por Chia breathing out. And then their mind has no way to go out, no time, because they have to observe their nostrils. So this is for those of moha, ignorant, or vitakka, speculative, temperament, contemplate the body using anapana. Someone who has weak insight and so much wrong view, doubt about many things, that person should contemplate mind. They might have so many wrong views, this is my mind, this is my body, this is a man, this is a woman, everything lasts a long time, there is permanence. Maybe they think that way. When they contemplate the mind, which moves very quickly, everything arises quickly and then disappears, they will know, oh, this is not my body. It's just mind arising and disappearing, arising and disappearing. Or maybe this type of person has other wrong views, such as eternalism or annihilation. When they see the mind arising and disappearing, this wrong view of eternalism will be inhibited, and when they see arising every moment, arising, this wrong view of annihilation will be inhibited. So for whoever has wrong view, it's good to contemplate the mind. It's important for teachers to know that although they may give instructions to a student based on their karita, for some meditators it's not suitable for them and they won't be able to gain enlightenment, or even concentration. Here's a story. In the time of the Buddha there was a very handsome young man who was the son of a goldsmith. And he became a monk. The Buddha's chief disciple, Venerable Sariputta, was his preceptor. So the young man was admitted into the order by Venerable Sariputta and then given loathsomeness of a dead body as his subject of meditation. Venerable Sariputta chose this subject of meditation because he thought, oh, this gentleman, this young man, is very handsome. He comes from a goldsmith family, so maybe he has a lustful temperament. He thought that, and so he instructed the new monk to practice contemplation of the loathsomeness of a dead body. The young monk tried to practice this for 3 months but made no progress, no jhana, no enlightenment, nor even any concentration. He told his preceptor, I cannot make any progress. What's happened to me? So Venerable Sariputta considered this. A few months have passed and you've made no progress. We should go and ask the Buddha. 84 Just practice. And then he took the monk to see the Buddha and they related the young monk's background, where he came from, his family, and the meditation instructions he'd received. Using his supernormal powers, the Buddha looked back into the young monk's previous lives and saw that he had been in a family of goldsmiths in 500 previous lives. The Buddha saw that the young monk simply liked beautiful things, not ugly ones, and so contemplation of the loathsomeness of the body was not suitable for him. And seeing this, the Buddha changed the young monk's object of meditation, instructing him to practice contemplating a beautiful lotus flower. The Buddha used his supernormal power to create a beautiful lotus flower and then let the young monk contemplate it. As the young monk concentrated on it, he was filled with delighted satisfaction. His mind became fixed on the beautiful lotus flower, and step by step he reached the first level of mental absorption. He gained full jhana. He'd gained happiness and one-pointedness to reach this level, where his mind had never been before. Seeing that the young monk had reached this level of mental absorption, the Buddha used his supernormal power to make the flower instantly wither. Whereas it was once beautiful, it now withered and changed its color. When the young monk saw the flower wither and change color, he perceived the impermanent nature of the flower. First it was very beautiful, then it withered and changed color, it was impermanent. And he realized that this didn't just apply to a beautiful lotus flower. All other things, all beings, including himself, are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and insubstantial. Finally, he gained enlightenment. Not just Sotapanna, but he gained the fourth stage of enlightenment and became an arahant. This story illustrates the importance of the subject of meditation being suitable for one's temperament. C. The young monk practiced for several months and couldn't even gain concentration because his preceptor let him contemplate loathsomeness of a dead body, which wasn't suitable for his temperament due to him having been in a goldsmith family for 500 previous existences. He just liked beautiful things, and so when the Buddha gave him a beautiful lotus flower as an object of meditation he gained enlightenment right away. 85 The collected teachings of Luangpo Chia. We should know about these temperaments, especially teachers, who should know them for themselves first and then be in a position to guide or give advice to others. So this is regarding temperaments. And for meditators, we should know the things that are favorable to mental development. And so there are 7 kinds of suitabilities. This is very important too. They include suitable place, suitable resort, suitable speech, suitable person, suitable food, suitable temperature or climate, and suitable posture. We should know about this. If it's not suitable for you, you can't gain enlightenment. So you should adjust yourself to ensure these 7 suitabilities are met. Let's talk about these 7 suitabilities. 1. Suitable place. This is a place where it's possible to gain insight knowledge. You should avoid places which ruin your concentration. This means busy, active places where the mind is likely to be distracted from its object of meditation. This means that a certain amount of quiet is important and required. When you sit in meditation, maybe at a meditation center or a monastery or a temple or maybe at home, a suitable place is very important for you. And if we practice meditation at home, we should clean the house. A clean place is very important. If there's a lot of stuff around you, you cannot gain concentration easily. So the place where you sit in meditation should be clean and quiet. 2. Suitable resort. This refers to an ancient practice for monks. The place where we practice meditation should be neither too far nor too near. If it's too far, it's very hard to get food because the monks depend on the villagers for food. If it's too near, maybe it's not quiet. So it should be neither too far nor too near. For lay people, the place you sit in meditation or for practice should have food that is easily and consistently available. 86 Just practice. This means suitable resort. 3. Suitable speech. This means you're not supposed to talk too much when you practice meditation. If you talk too much, even before you say something you have to think about what you're going to say. So you lose your concentration at the time you talk, and you lose your concentration after you talk, thinking about what you said or what the other person said. Just one word of talking stops your concentration a lot. If you say many words, talk too much, it's a big disturbance to your meditation. So you should not talk too much. And it's not just you that gets disturbed, you disturb other meditators as well. Your talking causes other meditators to become distracted. So you're not supposed to talk too much when you're practicing meditation, except for necessities. For regular meditators, those of us who practice meditation every day, or twice a day, at least, while we're practicing meditation our goal is to gain enlightenment and become a noble one. This is our goal. If you really have your goal and want to reach it, you really want to attain your goal, then even in your daily life there are only certain things you should talk about. The Buddha taught about what subjects are appropriate for discussion if it's necessary to talk. This is useful for everyone, but especially so for meditators who would like to gain enlightenment. When we talk, the subject for discussion should be A. About wanting little. This means conversation on frugality, B. About contentment, C. About seclusion, D. About dissociation. This means conversation on aloofness from society, 87 The collected teachings of Luangpo Chia, E. About exertion, F. About morality, G. About concentration, H. About wisdom, understanding or insight, I. About deliverance, or J. About the knowledge and vision relating to deliverance. This is very important for us. When we need to talk, when we meet each other, or when we meet with our friends, we should talk only about wanting little, contentment, seclusion, dissociation, exertion, morality, concentration, wisdom, deliverance, or knowledge and vision relating to deliverance. This will motivate you to practice meditation to gain enlightenment. This is suitable speech, the way we should talk every day, for the next suitability is a suitable person. For a meditator, this chiefly relates to a meditation teacher. You should have a meditation teacher. You cannot practice meditation by yourself and gain enlightenment, you need a teacher. So what kind of teacher should you have? The qualities of a teacher are the qualities of a good friend. They include, A. Endowed with faith, or confidence, B. Endowed with virtue, C. Endowed with learning, D. Endowed with generosity, E. Endowed with effort, F. Endowed with mindfulness, G. Endowed with concentration, and H. Endowed with wisdom. These are the qualities of a good teacher or a good friend. And here are 7 other qualities of a good friend or teacher, some are similar and some are different. A. Lovable or endearing. Why do we call this person lovable or endearing? Because he's endowed with virtue or good conduct. And he's honest. 88 Just practice. B. Respectable, because he is endowed with virtue, concentration and good practice, and so on. C. He is impartial and fair. Whatever he does, whatever decisions he makes, he's fair and impartial. D. Being a counselor, because he has knowledge and is able to teach, to guide, and to give advice to the student, to the meditator. E. Being a patient listener. If someone comes to tell him something, he accepts what they have to say, he doesn't reject it. He listens. Some might say, I'm a teacher. Don't tell me that. But he will not say that. F. Able to deliver deep discourses, or to expound upon profound subjects. This regards mind and matter, impermanence, and so on, realities. He can teach you these, and G. Will never guide you the wrong way, will not lead you toward a useless end. He will guide you the right way. These are the qualities of a good teacher or a good friend. So when you decide to practice meditation, you should look for this type of person. We call this a suitable person. 5, and the next suitability is suitable food. When you practice meditation, there should be moderation in eating. When you eat and you're about 5 spoonfuls away from being full, you should stop eating and fill yourself with water. 6. Suitable climate. You should adjust yourself to a suitable climate, hot or cold, and this is very easy in the US. We already have heaters and air conditioning. So we don't need to worry about climate or the weather or temperature here. 7, and last is suitable posture. This means sitting, standing, walking, or lying down. There are these 4 kinds of postures. When you practice meditation, sitting and walking meditations are better. Just sitting is not right, and only 89 The collected teachings of Luangpo Chia walking is not right. We should do both, alternating sitting for 1 hour with walking for 1 hour. So the sitting posture and walking posture are suitable for meditators. Beginners, in particular, will easily become drowsy and fall asleep if they practice lying down meditation. And doing only standing meditation leads easily to pain, stiffness, and pressure in the legs which will disturb your meditation. So it is necessary that we adjust ourselves to these 7 kinds of suitabilities in order for our meditation and concentration to progress. Thank you everyone for your attention. Luangpo addresses the students one last time as they prepare to depart. What kind of temperament do you think you have? Everyone has all 6 temperaments, but one should be dominant over the others. Question: are we supposed to figure it out for ourselves? Yeah, by the way you talk, eat, sit, walk, and act. Luangpo laughs. Think about that. Do you do these things slowly or quickly? When you cut something or chop something, how do you do it? 90 Just practice from the February 18, 2001 talk, Mental Culture and Images. We recently talked about Karita, the 6 kinds of temperaments. Today we're going to study Bhavana, mental culture, and Nimitta, the signs, or images. For now, we're just talk ing about samatha, or tranquility, meditation. We're not talking about insight vipassana meditation yet. Today we'll focus on samatha meditation and by what subject of meditation we can attain jhana, and so on. We should know this. Not every subject of meditation can lead us to attain jhana. Some can't, so we're going to study that today. So, first, Bhavana. Bhavana is mental culture. We have 3 Bhavana, 3 stages of mental culture. 1. Parikamma Bhavana, or the preliminaries of mental culture. This is when beginner meditators take any subject of meditation and they practice their meditation. We call this the preliminaries of mental culture. 2. Upakara Bhavana, or proximate mental culture. This means that when you practice meditation, you focus your mind on your primary object, you gain some concentration, and you almost gain jhana. This is proximate mental culture. And 3. Appana Bhavana, or concentrative mental culture. Now, you gain one-pointedness of the mind, you've gained jhana. And with regard to nimitta, the signs, we have 3 signs, or 3 images. 1. Parikamma nimitta, or preliminary image. For example, maybe you take the earth khaja to meditate on. This earth khaja is a preliminary image. 2. Agaha nimitta, or visualized image. You keep practicing with your subject of meditation, and you're later able to close your eyes and visualize the object. We call this a visualized image, or an abstract image. This means that this sign, or this image, is perceived by the mind as if seen by the eyes. For example, when you meditate on the earth khaja, firstly you need to open your eyes, look at the earth khaja, and say, earth, earth, earth. Later on, you don't need to see it with your eyes. Even if you close 91 the collected teachings of Luangpo Chia your eyes, you can see it. We call this a visualized image. And 3. Padabhaga nimitta, or conceptualized image. After that, you practice your meditation, and finally, you will gain the conceptualized image. At that stage, you may gain jhana. When your nimitta is either a preliminary image or a visualized image, the level of bhavana is still preliminary mental culture. For example, you practice the earth khaja and the preliminary image becomes the visualized image, but the bhavana is still preliminary mental culture. Later on, you gain the conceptualized image, at which point the level of your bhavana is proximate mental culture or concentrative mental culture. In other words, the preliminary and visualized nimitta levels are still preliminary mental culture, but the conceptualized nimitta level is either proximate or concentrative mental culture. Now we know the 3 stages of mental culture and the 3 images. Next, we have to ask, of the 40 subjects of meditation, what kind of meditation can lead us to attain jhana? We'll start by talking about the 10 khaja. The first 4 khaja, earth, water, fire and air, are suitable for all karita. Whatever temperament you have, you can practice these 4 khaja. And whoever practices these 4 khaja can attain preliminary mental culture, proximate mental culture, and concentrative mental culture. As for the nimitta here, you can gain the preliminary image, the visualized image, and the conceptualized image. With regard to jhana, whoever practices these 4 khaja can gain the 1st through 5th jhana. After we understand these, the remaining ones are very easy to understand. Now, we have the 4 color khaja, blue, yellow, red, white. These 4 color khaja are suitable for what kind of temperament? Dosa, or hateful, temperament. It's suitable for them to practice the color khaja. Whoever practices them can attain what kind of bhavana? Answer, the 3 kinds of bhavana. What kinds of images can be obtained? The 3 kinds of images can be obtained. And what about jhana? Same, the 1st through 5th. And we have the space and light khaja. These khaja are suitable for all temperaments. These khaja can be used to attain the three mental cultures, the three images, and the first through fifth jhana. And now, we'll go to asubha, the 10 impurities. 92 Just practice the 10 impurities are suitable for those of lustful temperament. The three kinds of mental culture and the three images can be attained, but as for jhana, only the first jhana can be attained. If someone says they practiced the impurities and gained the second jhana, that's impossible. Only first jhana can be attained. Why only the first jhana? Because the objects are very gross. Bloated corpses or discolored corpses, and so on, the objects are gross. To attain the first jhana, what do we need? We need vitakka, initial application, to direct our mind to the object. We also need vikara, sustained application, piti, rapture, sukha, happiness, and ekaggata, one-pointedness. But for the second jhana, there's no vitakka anymore. So because the object is gross, we need vitakka, or initial application. A student interrupts with a question. Question: if someone has a lustful temperament and needs to practice meditation on the impurities, how are they supposed to gain deeper levels of concentration? If you practice only the impurities, because you cannot gain the second jhana, you'd have to change your object. Again, asubha meditation can lead only to the first jhana. But here, you should know that in the early days most people practiced impurities to develop detachment from their body. After they attained the first jhana, when rapture arose in the body and the mind, they no longer concentrated on this samatha object. They now concentrated on the arising and disappearing of the rapture and sukha, which became vipassana. They were now practicing satipana. As they concentrated on pti and sukha and realized the three characteristics of mind and body, they attained arahant. This was all based on asubha. But whoever just wants to practice asubha can only attain the first jhana. I've talked before about the monk who practiced the skeleton asubha. It's a story where a monk encounters a woman but he saw her only as a skeleton. When he did, he found rapture and happiness. When he concentrated on the rapture and happiness, he attained arahant. And that incident was based on his skeleton contemplation. We need to contemplate these impurities sometimes. For instance, before we sit in meditation we have the guardian meditations, or supportive meditations, we can use. These are reflection on the virtues of the Buddha, radiating loving kindness, reflection on the impurities of 93 the collected teachings of Luangpur Chia the body, and reflection on death. These four are the guardian meditations. We can reflect on these for 5, 10, or maybe 15 minutes, and then sit in meditation. They're useful even for meditators who practice vipassana. Next we have the 10 reflections or recollections, 6 of these: reflection on the Buddha, reflection on the doctrine, reflection on the order, reflection on morality, reflection on generosity, and reflection on deities, are suitable for those of faithful or devout temperament. Because you have devout temperament, when you consider these things you will gain concentration and be happy. Whoever practices these 6 subjects of meditation can gain preliminary and proximate mental culture only. As for the nimitta, only the preliminary and visualized can be attained. And as for the jhana, no jhana. Why no jhana? Because the object has no shape or form, no concept, the subject is reality. The virtues of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, reflection on morality, and so on, these are realities. The object is a reality and not a concept. To gain jhana, we see a nimitta from preliminary to visualized, and then from a visualized image to a conceptualized image, step by step. We cannot imagine the virtues of the Buddha as a conceptualized image because it's not a concept, it's a reality. So you should know that the subjects of meditation that are realities cannot lead to jhana. Next is the reflection on peace. This is a reflection on the attributes of nibbana, such as cessation of suffering, and so on, and the reflection on death. These 2 kinds of meditation are suitable for those of intellectual temperament. Why? To be able to reflect on the qualities of nibbana, the cessation of suffering, for example, the person usually has wisdom. How about bhavana? Only 2 kinds of bhavana, preliminary and proximate. For the nimitta image, only 2, preliminary and visualized. And no jhana, because these are realities. And next is mindfulness of the body, of the 32 impure parts of the body. This is suitable for those of lustful temperament. For this person, they can attain the 3 states of mental culture and the 3 kinds of images, but only the first jhana. Why only the first jhana? For the same reason as the asubha impurities. The 32 impure parts of the body are gross, and so we still need vitakka, or initial application. Do you remember the 32 impure parts of the body? They are hair of the body, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, bowels, undigested food, stomach, 94 just practice species, brain, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, lymph, tears, grease, saliva, nasal mucus, oil of the joints, and urine. We should remember this. There's no person here. See? It's just ugly stuff. Wang Por laughs. There's no Roger here, no Marjorie here, there's only hair, nails, teeth, skin, right? They combine and become this person, but actually, there is no person here. There's a Burmese saying that it's better to go to a cemetery or a funeral 1 time than to go to a temple 10 times. If you have an opportunity to see, or even think about, the different stages of decay of a corpse, there's no craving, no attachment to the body, no attachment to property, or to anything. This means that wholesome consciousness has arisen in your mind in that moment. That's why it's better to go to a cemetery or funeral 1 time than to go to a temple 10 times. How about the last recollection, anapanasati, or mindfulness of respiration? This is suitable for those who have moha, or ignorant, or vitakka, or speculative, temperament. This is because the breathing process arises slowly. Whoever practices anapanasati can attain the 3 stages of mental culture, the 3 images, and the 1st through 5th jhana. See that? This is why most people who practice meditation concentrate on their breathing in and breathing out. So, the samatha meditator can attain the 1st through 5th jhana. Now we go to the 4 sublime states, metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. These are suitable for those who have dosa, or hateful, temperament. For those people, how about bhavana? How many kinds? The 3 states of bhavana, and the 3 images. And for metta, karuna, and mudita, the 1st through 4th jhana can be attained. For upekkha, or equanimity, only the 5th jhana can be attained. For this reason, we cannot start with equanimity as our first meditation object. Rather, it should be after we gain the 4th jhana, and then we just continue with equanimity. And then we'll attain the 5th jhana. Next is perception or the feeling of the loathsomeness of food. We call this one perception. Perception is suitable for those of intellectual temperament because you have to think about, have a feeling about, the loathsomeness of food. Those with no wisdom can't practice this meditation. This perception gains only 2 bhavana, preliminary and proximate. And for the nimitta, only 2, preliminary and visualized. And there's no jhana. You cannot attain jhana. And the next is analysis. This is analysis of the 4 elements with regard to their characteristics, and so on. This kind of meditation is suitable for those of intellectual temperament because we need to have 95 the collected teachings of Luang Por Chea enough wisdom to investigate the 4 elements with regard to their characteristics. For this meditation, there are just 2 bhavana, preliminary and proximate. For the nimitta image, there's just preliminary and visualized, only 2. And no jhana. And the last meditation is the 4 arupa jhana. These are suitable for all temperaments. Whatever temperament you have, you can practice these. How many bhavana? 3 bhavana. And 3 images. As for jhana, the infinity of space, the 1st arupa jhana, infinite consciousness, the 2nd arupa jhana, infinite nothingness, the 3rd arupa jhana, and neither perception nor non-perception, the 4th arupa jhana, are attainable. There's no form here. With the first Arupa jhana, infinity of space, it's just space and no form. Nothing, just space. You close your eyes and see all the space. This is contemplation of the infinity of space. For the infinity of the first consciousness, they call this infinity. Infinite nothingness is nothingness, the absence of consciousness. And the last one, this is calm, this is sublime, neither perception nor non-perception, very, very subtle. If someone becomes a non-returner or an arahant and enters the cessation attainment, Nirodha Samapatti, for 7 days even their mind doesn't arise. There's no mind, no mental state, but even a person who has attained arahant but who has not developed all the jhana can't do that. They have to attain the Rupa jhana and the Arupa jhana. And it is very difficult to attain Arupa jhana. But a non-returner and an arahant who attained all the jhana can enter into this cessation attainment for 7 days. So all the Rupa jhana, levels 1 through 5, and the 4 Arupa jhana should be attained in order to get to this stage. Whoever practices samatha meditation and gains the 5th jhana can gain the 5 supernormal powers, the various psychic powers. They can have divine eye or ear, they can read someone's mind, or they can remember past lives. This is those who have attained the 5th jhana. If someone who doesn't practice meditation says, I have psychic powers, I can see everything, or I can hear things, it's impossible. It's not within their abilities. But if you practice meditation and gain the 5th jhana, you have the ability to show these psychic powers, these miracles. Anyone can do this. It doesn't require you to be a noble person. Even an ordinary worldling can do this. But it's impermanent. When you get angry, or maybe sometimes you attach to something, then all your jhana will go away, you're still a worldling. So now we know the 40 subjects of meditation, the 3 stages of mental culture, and the 3 signs. Amongst these 40 subjects of 96 just practice meditation, for 8 of them, reflection on the special qualities of the Buddha, reflection on the doctrine, reflection on the order, reflection on morality, reflection on generosity, reflection on deities, reflection on peace, and reflection on death, as well as the 1 perception, and analysis. So these 10, only proximate bhavana can be attained, not the concentrative stage. This means that whoever practices these 10 kinds of meditation cannot gain any jhana. And for the remaining 30 subjects of meditation, jhana can be attained. Now I would like to discuss contemplation on the repulsiveness or ugliness, the impurities, of the body. Especially before we do sitting meditation, it is very useful to practice this in order to be able to get rid of attachment to our body, or to get rid of personal wrong view. Our body is like an old house. There's only one entrance but it has several exits. Every day we eat so many kinds of foods and drink different kinds of liquids, through our mouth only. But why are there so many holes, or doors, where the impurities come out of the body? How many holes or doors are there in our body? Not less than 9. When you eat, you just eat through your mouth, just one entrance, but when it goes out, how many exits are there? Not less than 9. Think about that, these impurities come out from our 2 ears, our 2 eyes, our nose, we have 2 holes there, and so on. So not less than 9, right? Think about that. This old house has 1 entrance and so many exits. In this body we eat only through our mouth, 1 entrance, but it comes out through several holes and doors. And in one day we take only 2 or 3 meals, right? But the impurities are leaking out every moment, not just one time, but every moment. They are leaking from several holes in our body, consciously or unconsciously, sometimes we know it and sometimes we don't know it. That's why we need to have some tissue paper and so on around us all the time, especially women, maybe they need more than a man. All of you know about that. Why do you need to have tissue around you all the time? Because we need to clean our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, our face, our body, and so on. When the impurities are full, what do you have to do? You have to excrete them right away, with no delay. Even though it's midnight, a time you're sleeping well, or maybe think about all the times you're enjoying watching or hearing or tasting something. And what happens? Consider this. Sometimes you're sleeping well at midnight and you have a 97 The Collected Teachings of Luang Por Chia stomach problem and you have to run to the restroom without delay. Sometimes you're enjoying watching TV, a movie, or enjoying a meal, when you have a stomach problem and then you have to run quickly to the toilet. Think about this. Think about our bodies, and how ugly they are. The more we eat and drink, the more we have to run to the restroom. Not less than 10 times a day. We eat only 2 or 3 meals but we have to go to the toilet at least twice, right? And when you drink, how many cups? Maybe 10 cups. So if you drink 10 times, you have to run to the restroom 10 times. That's why the more you eat and drink, the more you have to run to the restroom. And not less than 10 times a day. When we're eating, we can enjoy the food with our family and friends unhurriedly in the dining room. Some of you may have a birthday party and buy a lot of food, maybe even order from a restaurant. You think, oh, this is very expensive, very delicious food. You'll call someone to join you for the meal. You'll be proud of the food, and maybe even take a picture, because it's so expensive. And when you eat the meal with your family or friends, you just talk and eat and talk, maybe taking 1 or 2 hours to finish it. But when the time comes that we have to relieve our abdominal suffering, everyone has to run to the toilet, right? We close the door hastily, and with an unhappy face. You complain when you eat too much and you complain when you're excreting. When you eat it, you enjoy it with your friends and family, but when it comes out you have an unhappy face. We cannot make that trip to the restroom slowly, it must be made hastily. And even though you may enjoy the meal with so many people, maybe 10 or 20 people, when you go to the restroom you cannot go together, it's only you. You run to the restroom and you're all alone. And now the delicious food and the fragrant things that you've eaten and drunk, it comes out with an ugly shape and smell. We need to think about that. Oh, this chicken, this lobster, this fish, and the next day, the colors have changed, it's not like before, right? Fragrant things now have a bad smell. Sometimes you might take out a dish and sniff, ah, it smells good. But when it comes out of your body, it has a bad shape and a bad smell. As a matter of fact, it's not just when it's excreted from the body. Even while it's being chewed by the teeth in our mouth, it's already become ugly and repulsive. This is very evident and plain. No matter how delicious it is, the food you're chewing for, say, 1 minute, take it out and give it to someone else to eat. There would be no one to accept it. 98 Just practice something that you've chewed for just 1 minute has already become ugly. Even you wouldn't desire to look at it if you spit it on the spoon. So, only 1 minute, it took an hour to prepare it, it's so expensive, and so delicious, but put it in your mouth for 1 minute and then take it out. Then you don't want to look at it anymore. Why? Because everything that is touched by our body becomes ugly right away. This is very evident and plain. And as for many of the things we're taught as being beautiful and worthy of appreciation, such as your hair, your teeth, your nails, your skin, and so on, if you accidentally drop some of that into your dish while you're eating, you may not want to continue eating. You may throw it away. These belong to you, right? They're not someone else's. And if it was someone else's hair or someone else's nail that dropped into your dish, you'd get angry with them, right? The same is true for someone else. I would like all of you to think about our bodies and how ugly they are. Our hair, our nails, our teeth, and so on, when they remain in their place, what do you think? Do you think highly of them, appreciate them, and feel proud of them? Why? Because you're attached to them as being pretty, by prejudgment. You think, my hair is very pretty, or, my teeth are good. This is prejudgment. In reality, hair, and so on, is just part of the 32 impure parts of the body. No matter whether they exist in their original places or drop off from our body, they are impurities. But few people think like that. Like your hair, for example, when it exists on your head, you are attached to it, ah, my hair is very pretty. But when some of your hair drops off from your body, what do you think of it? You don't want to touch it with your hand. Instead, you'll maybe take a tissue to pick it up and then throw it away. Why don't you think it's beautiful at that moment? This is the human mind, and human nature. What about your teeth? You look in the mirror and maybe you're proud of yourself. Oh, I have beautiful teeth. But when you have a tooth pulled, maybe the doctor will show it to you. This is your tooth. Oh, I don't want to see that. Even your own tooth you don't want to see. Moreover, the inside of our body, especially in our stomach, is gross. There are 80 different species of worms. This comes from Buddhist scripture. They are born there, mate there, live their lives there, and finally, die there. Do you believe that? All these creatures are born and die, in every moment. You can ask a doctor, they'll tell you about this. Every moment, they are just being born and dying. So, there are a lot of 99 the collected teachings of Luangpo Chia different species of worms in our stomach and in our body. This body that we appreciate and are proud of is just a hospital and cemetery of small creatures, right? Just a hospital and a cemetery. If you want to make sure what I'm saying is correct, don't forget to examine this matter after you've excreted in the restroom. Sometimes you may see some small living creatures on your excrement. For a doctor or a nurse, they know about this. They use their microscopes to see this a lot. There are dying creatures and living creatures in your excrement. Sometimes you can actually see this yourself. This means that our stomachs have a lot of kinds of worms. If you ask a medical doctor, he will explain and prove this to you. We also have so many bacteria and viruses and so on in our bodies. See? This is why our bodies are hospitals and playgrounds and cemeteries for all these creatures. Our bodies look like mobile cemeteries, especially for those who are non-vegetarian. All over the world, we have cemeteries where there are only dead human bodies and human ashes. All over the world, and in every city, are cemeteries, with just buried dead human bodies and ashes. But terribly, our bodies, these so-called mobile cemeteries, have so many kinds of dead bodies buried in them, such as cow, pig, chicken, duck, lobster, turkey, fish, crab, shrimp, prawn, and so forth. Every day we eat these kinds of animals, right? That's why I say this is especially the case for those who are non-vegetarian. How about you, Mary? Question: Well, I've been a vegetarian for 2 weeks. Oh good. A lot of laughter in the room. This means we bury them in our stomach, right? Accordingly, our stomach becomes a mobile cemetery. So, when you eat chicken and so on, just think about that. And also, because of the impurities of our body, whatever new clothes are worn for a couple of days, just a couple of days, they become dirty and unclean. Think about that too. Whatever foods or other things are held by your bare hands become impure at once. That's why food sellers have to use a spoon or gloves instead of their bare hands, because whatever comes into contact with our body, including our hands, becomes ugly. 100 Just practice, and in the same way, a new car or a new house, or whatever, when they've been touched by our bodies, they become impure and dirty instantly. If you buy a new house, maybe you've only lived there 1 month, but it's not a new house anymore. The price is now different, it may come down. So all your clothes, you wear them 1 week, and they're not new anymore because whatever touches your body becomes ugly and dirty and impure. We need to think about this. Otherwise, you'll just be proud of yourself, I'm pretty, or I'm handsome. But it's not really that way. That's how we should think about this. We should examine to realize the nature of our body and accept it as the way it is. And also, I would like to tell you some other analogies. We are like a sick person, a patient, and our houses are like our own hospitals. So you're going to buy your hospital, right? Our various foodstuffs and drinks, which we store at home, are like medicine. And all of our different clothes are like bandages. Remember, our body is like a sick patient, our house is like a hospital, food and drink are like medicine, and our clothes are like bandages. If you think like this, there'll be no attachment anymore. Luangpo laughs. How do we look like a sick person? Because we cannot live without shelter, otherwise we will get sick. To be able to handle hot and cold weather, we need a house to act as a hospital that keeps us from getting sick. Also, we cannot sit still, even for 5 minutes, except, of course, for sitting in meditation, but normally, you cannot sit still and you have to change your position very often and rush to the restroom now and again, as if you have diarrhea. Like a patient, right? As I told you before, we run to the restroom not less than 10 times a day, as if we're someone with diarrhea. Wherever you go, you always need to carry some snacks and medicine with you. Why some snacks and medicine? We do this all the time, otherwise we might pass out somewhere, right? So when you travel to other states, you need some snacks and some medicine with you. And also, you have to change your clothes, or take them off, according to the climate. This is because you're not a normal person, but a sick person. This is why our body is like a sick person. Everyone's a sick person, including me. Not just all of you. 101 The collected teachings of Luangpo Chia. How are food and drinks like medicine? According to the nature of being a human being, although this applies to all living creatures, we are dependent on food, right? We cannot survive without food. Therefore, food is necessary for existence. We have to provide for our body by feeding it food and drink every day. Shortage of food and drink leads to hunger and thirst, and even death. This is why I made the analogy that food stuff and drinks, whatever we serve in our house, are medicines to cure our hunger as a so-called disease. Hunger is like a disease, and that's why food stuff and drinks are medicine. So we have a lot of medicine at home in the refrigerator, to cure our hunger. And how are our clothes like bandages? Our bodies are like someone who has been wounded, they should be bandaged all the time to protect us from undesirable insects, heat and cold. That's why we have to wear robes or clothes. Similarly, without clothes so many flies and other insects will come and enjoy our bare body as their food. We will have a lot of flies and insects around us if we have no clothes. For the purpose of protecting us from an intensive hot and cold climate, as well as to keep dangerous flies and other insects away, clothes become indispensable, like a bandage for a wound. Everyone has a wound, right? And so you need a bandage. I think a lot of you have a lot of bandages at home in the closet. Sometimes you may tell someone, I bought this shirt, or these pants, and how much you paid for them. Maybe you're proud of your clothes, your pants, your shirts, your coat, these are bandages for your wounds. Everyone has wounds, so we need bandages all the time. When you consider yourself as a sick person, your house as a hospital, food and drink as medicine, and your clothes as bandages, you will not attach to your body and your possessions. Personal vanity will have no room. Your mindfulness and concentration will be strengthened, and you will eventually be able to penetrate your wisdom into the intrinsic nature of mind and matter and then realize the four noble truths in this very life. This is why we need to practice and consider this reflection on the impurities of the body before we sit in meditation. I'm talking about this so we can develop detachment from our body, the bodies of others, and also to non-living things. So, before sitting in meditation, some of these reflections should be considered as supportive meditation. Even if not all, some. Before you sit, even for a few minutes, think about these things. 102 Just practice this last analogy that I talked about. Oh, we're like a sick person, this building is like a hospital, what we eat or drink is medicine, and our clothes are bandages for our wounds. This is so you're not attached to your body, and when you sit in meditation you can gain concentration easily. That's why we call it supportive meditation. How many are there? 4, right? I already talked about loving kindness and the impurities of our body, but we still have to talk about contemplation of death and the virtues of the Buddha, briefly, and then we'll sit in meditation. But I think that's enough for today. May all of you be able to develop detachment from the body and practice meditation until you reach your spiritual goal. Any questions? So many questions. You should write a book, Ajahn. It would be so helpful. People would buy that. You know, diet books are so popular, but if they read something like that, they might wake up. When you sit in meditation and you think, oh, I hurt, you're already attached to your body. Instead, just think, there's nothing there. It's just hair, it's just nails, teeth, skin, just the 32 impure parts of the body. Hey combined together, but they're not mine. Even if someone talks bad to you, you're not supposed to get angry with them. How could they say that to me? There's no me, no I, and no my. Just hair, you know. In some ways, the person who talks back to you is not a person either, not a man, not a woman. You're angry with them, but are you angry with their hair? You're angry with their teeth or their skin or their nails, right? Reflection on the 32 impure parts is not just for ourselves. It's so that you're not attached to yourself or someone else. Sometimes you think, oh, I have a big house, or a new house, you're attached to your house. But instead, think, oh, I'm a sick person. This is my hospital. An attachment will go right away. 103.